When a single neuron fires, it is but an isolated chemical blip. When many fire together, they form a thought. What is the spark that ignites our thoughts? What is the fabric that sews our mental process as we form our perspectives of the world? Join us as we explore this magical process of manifestation and self-transformation. This is Alchemy of Thought. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Alchemy of Thought. I am your host, Tisha Monet, and I am here with Doug and Beezy, the polyamorous couple, also the owners of iCaptureSouls. Make sure you guys stay tuned because we're about to get deep. And we are back. Once again, I'm sitting here with Doug and Beezy, the polyamorous couple, and we're about to jump right on into it, right? So, free thinker. Let's talk about the difference between polyamory versus polyandry versus polygamy in contrast to monogamy. So, what are the differences there?
You have three different subcategories of poly. So, polyamory, that's what we are. That would be you, everybody having consent of having multiple lovers.
Okay, all right.
And I guess that's what that means to you. Then you got polyandry and polygamy. Polygamy is having more than one wife. So, to contrast them with monogamy would be to say those three are. You have to be open in order to pursue them. Monogamy is almost, to us, it puts you in one box of this is what you're going to do, you're going to love one person, and that's how most of us are raised. But nothing else in the world, you're not restricted with that many other things. Nobody says, you got one car, this is your only car you're ever going to have. Only this car, only this pair of shoes. So for humans to think that we can restrict natural behavior. It's
instinct and just nature.
For me, I would just say that it's just freedom. That's the difference. We have the freedom and the choice to be able to versus monogamy kind of lets you know, like he said, a woman is with a man, they're supposed to get married. Anything else outside of that is considered cheating. The difference is it's consensual, everyone is informed that's involved. And when you do it the right way, everyone's informed that's involved, and therefore it's more freedom to, depending on how far you want to go with your relationship.
Yes. So with polyamory, that's with multiple lovers, right?
Yeah.
So you guys aren't married, like legally married, right?
No, that's my fiance.
But that's your fiance, girl. But okay, so polyandry is like multiple husbands, I believe, right? So you have polygamy. Okay, so how did you guys both come to the conclusion that having a polyamorous relationship was for you guys? So like if you were to get married, polygamy, which is multiple wives, correct me if I'm wrong, and the polyandry is multiple husbands, right? So how with you being polyamorous, so those are like the subcategories under being polyamorous, right? So how did you come to the conclusion that this is for your relationship, considering the fact that you are engaged to be married? Is this like across the board thing? Like she could have more than one husband, you can have more than one wife, or is it just like, you know?
I guess, alright, so I'll start and then I'll slide it over to you. Alright, so. Alright, you got it.
Well, I'm bisexual, so that was one thing. And I had to be able to open up to him to let, he had to be the man for me to be able to let him know that that side of me existed. And so I opened up to him about being bisexual, and so I was actually watching something on Facebook. It was a Facebook Live of a couple that was poly, and they were from St. Louis, a black couple. And their vibe, them just discussing their relationships that they had with other women, and the woman just so powerful for me. And she just spoke love into her mate. Like she loved the fact that he was loving on other women, and that made her love him even more.
It's selflessness,
right?
You know what I mean?
And so for me, it was like, oh wait, so I could have a woman and a the man at the same time and love both of them. It may not be equally. It could be equally. Depends on what type of relationship you're trying to have. So from there, we did our research, and we were looking for. We didn't know what we were looking for at that time. We just were looking for a unicorn. Okay. And so from there, we started into the swinging lifestyle. Okay. So we ventured into that for about a year or two, just going to different events, going to parties, and just getting familiar with the lifestyle. Yeah.
We would love to be able to say like the names of spots, but not the initiate to be in those spaces. But she expressed that she was bisexual because she felt comfortable
to do it. Now, how far into your relationship did you tell
a year?
So,
almost
because we were monogamous for a whole year. Okay.
And we were raised in we were raised in monogamy. Right. So we were a monogamous couple when we met, and through I believe, I guess you can say, the type of man you felt like I was. And how I treated you and how I changed, because we met during me transitioning from kind of being ain't shit. You know what I'm saying?
He was a fuckboy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was a fuckboy.
Damn, son. I applaud you for saying that on camera.
Well, listen, it was fun.
Okay.
The women are going to enjoy me being, but I had fun. You know what I'm saying? But I know what I was. So she met me during that transition. Okay. And and this was being single. It was never in a relationship, fuckboy. Okay. So I never cheated.
All right. So you had some integrity.
Yeah, a little I just didn't want to be stressed out or have nobody trying to key a car or something like that.
He was like, listen, you the one, I'm about to take you serious.
Oh, okay.
But based off of how I guess proved that I could handle her giving me that info, I guess she didn't feel comfortable with the people she dealt with in the past to give them that info. Maybe they wouldn't have handled it right. Maybe they have took the situation and had some type of personal gain off of it. So she expressed that. I heard it, and it never was like, oh nah, or what. It was just like, you bisexual? Of course it would be like, oh hell yeah, but it's like, if that's you, okay.
Yeah, you was more accepting her. It wasn't even about the opportunity, like, damn, I could fuck you or somebody else. It wasn't even about that with you. It was about her being vulnerable to express that side. That's dope.
I never even talked about a threesome before even that. Like I never, none of that. I wasn't tripping off of none of it. So it was something that she wanted to express and then say she wants to explore. And then from then, with her kind of started it, then that's when me as a man, it's like usually us will say, okay, let's take this and dive in it. And so now I'm 10 toes in, we do the research, we ordering books and we just read it, and it's like unicorn, categories you see mostly on porn sometimes in it. Like slut watch. Like you just seeing all that stuff and I'm like, it's like, yo, all of this is together? So it's like you start to realize there's so many different lifestyles and people and what people like. Okay. And we just dove right in in the club, right?
So you said that she kind of took the initiative initially, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of mindset does a person need to adapt in order to have a polyamorous relationship? Like, if you could break down or like describe like the type of person that you have to be, like, you can, of course we know you can't be jealous or insecure, right? So what are some other things that
something that we definitely would mention because one, you can't be jealous, like you said. You have to have an open mind because you have to understand that it's not just about you as an individual, but when it's poly and you have multiple people that you're in love with, you have to always consider those feelings as well. I'm not saying that you don't do that in monogamous relationships, but it kind of forces you more to communicate those feelings, those desires that maybe you won't be able to express to a spouse that's monogamous. Being open and being able to say, hey, this is how I feel about this. I have concerns about this. Can we come to a common ground about something? We all have to be in a collaborative decision to agree or disagree on a situation. That's one. That's another thing.
You have to be
patience.
Patience.
Okay.
real.
You have to be very real with yourself.
Right.
So you can't preach freedom and liberation, but you don't reciprocate freedom and liberation. And some people.
So that's it right there, right? So to have that mentality, you have to be liberated in a sense in yourself first, right? You have to understand that what society says is not necessarily the truth or the right way.
Right.
You know, and be open to that and accepting other people's I guess you call it like their lifestyle, their fetishes, or whatever that may be. Yeah.
And you also have to be willing to want to grow by yourself. Individually.
Yes.
It's about individuality. Yes, we are a unit. Yes, that's my sprinkles to my ice cream. However, at the end of the day, I am Beezy and he is Doug. And we have to be able to be solid within who we are and also as a couple.
Yes.
So that's important. You got to be able to say, hey, I want to take my space and go here. You're going to go do this. Like he does photography. I enjoy being a part of it. But that's something that he does for himself. So being able to say, hey, this is me, this is who I am. And me being the model or whatever I want to do on the back end. So.
Very well said. So when we come back, we're going to get into the holistic living aspect of the polyamory world. Make sure you guys stay tuned because we're about to get deep.
How about that?
We are back. We're going to get into holistic living. So we're going to jump right back into the conversation. How does polyamory rather, benefit the family infrastructure? What are the benefits of just being a polyamorous person, couple? What does that bring to the family?
What part okay. Go ahead, you get the first one. We can just go back and forth. You get one and I'll get one.
Okay.
Right.
You get one for the women and I'll get one for the men. How about that? Can we do that?
Variety of parents that take pride and interest in that child. Now you have time.
That's dope. Okay. All right. Variety of parenting. Parenting. Okay.
Okay, that's a good one.
Now we're going by emotionally, financially, and physically. So no, that was a good one.
Financial, and I think that one. I think everything is very simple. Financially, you have 3 sources of income, or 4 or 5. If you're multiplying income, you're multiplying resources, less time for each person that's a part of it. So where it's like, you can all focus on what you want to do a little more. Or maybe like she has this, she wants to be in school. That's the vehicle that we want. That's her, her unicorn of a vehicle. If we got 3 or 4 incomes coming in, she's able to have that earlier at a more convenience to her pocket. And then also pursue her master's and go out into school. So it just helps lighten the load for everybody.
Yes.
It has to be that way. I would rather be the man that can be in position to take care of everything, but the women be able to hold their own so that they are financially liberated.
Absolutely.
And then it's emotionally, like you said, with the kids, it's more parenting.
With kids, it's more parents to be involved. Emotionally, for individuals, I'm a very emotional being. So
he said, "Oh yeah."
And so everything I feel everything, and so. I want to be able to express that and someone else be able to
receive
it.
Yeah.
But, because I am an emotional being too, it's just in 2 different ways.
Right. And I learned that about him through our journeys and trying to figure out self. That's important. And so I'm a very emotional being, and so I feel like if another woman is in tune with herself emotionally, she would be able to feel
the void. I'm not bringing another woman. In simple terms, so I can speak to men and fellas. In simple terms, and with emotion, if I'm chilling and I'm playing Madden and she has an episode, or it's like if it's something, it has to be not nothing outlandish to where I'm not available to. It's just that say maybe this is where I have my time and my space. Sunday between 1 to 11. It's football all day. And she's in that space with me, so she's adapted, she likes it, she watches it, and she enjoys it. But say that's my space and she has something going on and she can reach out to our female friend, oh, I've got this going on, come over, she can console her. She can fill the void that I'm not there. So
for temporarily in that moment though.
Listen, temporarily, but eventually eventually there will be no void, so I can't even say permanent.
Okay.
But I feel like there is power in, if I can't fill that void, helping her fill it versus just totally neglecting it at all. So that you don't have to only get it from me.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. You don't have to only get it from me if we're open to living this lifestyle. So we're okay. I'm fine with her getting things from another woman, or if it was another man. Like there's just so many different aspects for everybody to where every man and every woman gets to have their cake and eat it too. There's nobody that's at the top of the hierarchy, even though us as men head of the household. That's a bravado thing when you have those people like we spoke before about ego.
Right.
Yeah.
Nah, there's no need for no ego. That's why when you see men that have this lifestyle, they walk a certain way.
Yes.
You can tell the difference between the men that
it's just a sense of confidence, and not in an arrogant, boastful type of way. It's a sense of I know thyself type of thing. It's liberation and everything. So with the family infrastructure, you said parenting, financially, just having the multiple streams of income, being able to fill voids emotionally. You could not being able to just get something from one particular person. Right. So that could all together creates this infrastructure of a family household, of a family dynamic.
Right.
That's dope. Right. So between you two, do you guys foresee children? Even if you don't, but like this for speaking of children in this case, how would you go about teaching your children and raising them in a society where monogamy is so prominent?
Well, I don't have any children. Just to say that he does have a child.
Yeah, I have a daughter. She is. I start smiling.
All right.
She's about to be 13. She lives in Florida with her mom.
Okay.
And as far as with her, our lifestyle is fairly new to how she's growing. So once she gets curious, inquisitive, and starts to, I would, have no problem telling her, explaining things to her, because I would love for her to be able to get the female perspective from it, from Beezy, and then be able to get my perspective, and she can go out and she's not just monogamy. You can be open to more things. Your life could be better with poly, or it could be good with monogamy.
Yeah, it'll be her choice, but you will educate her on it, and then being that it comes from a loved one, someone who cares about her well-being. You're not out here just feeding her bullshit. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's very beneficial for her.
Because the overly masculine dad thing, which it's been within the last 6 or 7 years when I've come into me being more aware of who I am and what I should be doing, and the overly masculine thing with the daughter is like played out.
It's detrimental, honestly.
I always feel like I would love for her to be able to come to me, and the same way my woman can speak to me about anything, a little boy or this and that, like you could just come holler at me, and, like it ain't that type of party. So, and I think we would do that. So when we have our first child, I feel like we would definitely do that. Now, we're old school too. We come from the era, so we have certain things in us that we'll be trying to raise. Be a kid.
Yes,
do
absolutely.
Be a rough kid, not a YouTube kid that watches. You know what I'm saying? Like, be one of those, and as you start to ask questions, we'll tell you, because I feel like on the car right here, we said kids that asked about Santa Claus. Kids that asked about Santa Claus. I feel like, why lie? Right? To a kid, and it's like you can start that early. It may affect some that early where you end up being like, they lied about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny all them years.
Tooth Fairy, everything, but that's all about American.
Like, mommy lied. The nanny was in the room with daddy and mommy, and I don't know what happened. They said she was cleaning something. No, that's not a nanny. That's our girlfriend.
Yes.
And I want to educate the child.
Yes.
Like,
and they're getting that information from the home, and that's what's most important. So what about the conditioning, just things that you cannot control, like outside influences, television, other people, going to school? You still have society imposing the traditional beliefs, right, once you're a kid. So how, I don't use the word how would you combat that, but like how would you still embrace your lifestyle, although you have all these outside sources telling you no, that's frowned upon, because it is what it is. The polyamorous world is not glamorized. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's taboo. And it's taboo, and I think we would explain to our child that you can live it, you can be comfortable, you can be yourself. Just be aware of what space you're in. Make sure you're not imposing your lifestyle on other people's spaces. And I feel like they would be able to navigate the proper way, as if like we do. We don't go and if we're in a poly space or a lifestyle or a swinger place, we're in that space. When we're in monogamous spaces, yes, we're ourselves, but we understand how we have to maneuver in their space.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of respect. So, all right, we about to get juicy, right?
Juicy.
Yep. Is there a limit on how many partners you guys can have, right? So what does that doorway look like? And like, I wanna envision it. What does this doorway look like in the poly world of Doug and Beezy? What does that look like?
Well, we don't have a limit as to how many partners we will have. We just will come to a common ground about that because right now we just see a closed circle. But as we, get more experiences in, we have talked about opening our minds to more than that. So there isn't a limit. I don't even know if we ever discussed what was the max?
I don't think we discussed
anything like that. I don't know.
I'm not putting a limit. I'm not going to put limitations on
anything. That's just how y'all just like limits.
Just do it. We already compressed enough, and then why would you put so many rules? Just makes a lot of things complicated. And trust me, I'm only speaking from experience. Okay, so putting a lot of rules on things, it makes it complicated.
The doorway is
just
this.
live, just be.
We date, and we're single and dating, right?
Okay.
So just like if you're a man and you're single and dating, or a woman,
so you're a single couple.
Yes,
we're a couple
we're
single. Yeah, so we're single and dating.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So, but you're one entity. Y'all single.
We're engaged.
Right, y'all.
Yeah.
But y'all. Okay. All right. Okay.
So, all right, I think I lost my thought.
No, it's okay. So you said the doorway is you're single and dating.
So that's our doorway. We have times where we're active. There's times where we're not that active. I don't want to I don't want anybody to think it's just pieces and cream. We've had our dry spell. That's why when we started getting a lot more action and more interaction, it's not about sex. It's just to know that as a couple that we're even wanted by X, Y, and Z. Or it's like, okay, we're doing the right things. We're taking care of ourselves so people are attracted to us, or they can gain some type of knowledge from us.
Sometimes it's just about having the option to know that is out there if you wanted it. And so if it's a committed situation, that's a little bit different. But if we're dating, we don't have a title with anyone. We are free to do whatever we want. So if you come in with monogamous ways, but you saying you want to be poly, you could exit because we're not doing that over here. And so we're free. So you're a couple that's a single couple that dates. So you go out, you actually date these women or men. So you guys like hang out, go out to eat, chill.
In every space. There's some that want to go out to eat that we took them out to eat. There's some that want to come over and kick it and watch TV and chop it up. And we can do that too. We can do. We can do everything. We can try to go be elegant. We can go spend money. We more so about having fun. We can go bust a move on the weekend. That could be less than $40. And like we just, we got the cameras and drones and stuff. We just have fun.
Okay. And then how do you keep the relationship balanced and healthy with all of this, right? How do you guys keep Doug and Beezy centered, balanced, and healthy?
We go on a lot of dates.
Okay.
Together.
So you still date one another?
Make sure that's important. Like, we always make sure we go on dates. That's just how it goes. Like every now and then you venture off and you got to make sure the connection is always there. Like no matter what, who comes into our space, that's solid. So we date. We communicate a lot, whether we want to or not. Okay. All right. That's important. All right. Compromise. What else?
Well, not if we want to or not.
If we want to or not, it's true.
Yeah.
You might have to drag it out sometimes, but
we just have to wear. I think the balance is us not knowing, us being naive to what our love language is for together, which I think we just recently actually figured out. It's comedy. Like, you'll say this person has their love language, that person. What brings ours to where it's like explosive comedy. We figure out we watching a certain type of comedy show or a certain type of movie. The laughter brings us closer together. Certain podcasts and things like that bring us closer together. But balance otherwise just being ourselves. And just being who she is, I'm good with that. And me being comfortable to just be who I am. So it's not, we have our arguments, we have our spats around the crib. She has her moments where she will, and listen, I don't say I'm misogynistic, but sometimes women will, let me make sure I word it right, sometimes women will give you the green light to do something, but it don't really be green. If that makes sense. So we've had those moments. We've had moments where I had a crazy laughing judgment with thinking somebody had rhythm with us, like a female. Like she had said something and she posted it on her story on IG, on the Welcome to Polyamorous IG. And she said something about hotels, and the DM, somehow I thought she was saying she wanted to do that with us that night. Oh, okay. Me, I jumped the gun. Oh, and then found out she did, and I was like, you know what?
And then I had to bring them back. I said, babe, she's saying she would like to do this. She didn't say right now. She didn't say when. As a man, I'm like, no, so
you just took it off. You hit the ground. Right?
Okay, not like that. He's not like that. He normally, I'm very much involved with the women, and then he knows when it's time for him to be involved. Gotcha. But he's never thirsty, but the way she presented it, it was almost like, yeah, I got that. Okay, all right. It was one of those moments.
We can go get or do whatever it is.
Okay, so as far as like keeping you guys like healthy and balanced, you guys just ultimately accept each other for who you are.
Yeah, and that's my best friend.
Oh, and see, and that's what we're trying to get to, right? It's being one true to yourself, being authentically yourself, so you can find someone who authentically aligns with you. Because if you out here falsifying, living a facade, not living in your purpose, you're attracting all these people that don't necessarily align with you. Sure. So the fact that you are authentically yourself, and same for you, you can coexist just because you align. You know what I mean? So that's dope. So when we get back, we're going to get into the taboo section of this. We're going to talk about all the misconceptions about being in the polyamorous world. So make sure you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right. We are back. We're about to get into taboo. Yes. So we're going to talk about the misconceptions of polyamory and the stigma that it is primarily driven by men and sex, right? Right. So that's
we got the blame on that too.
Yeah, I got the blame on that. So let's clear that up. Is it true?
And not in our case, it's not. Okay. It was driven by Beezy. Right. And I would say Beezy's more sexually driven than I am, but she asked, are you more?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, honey, yes.
Yes, honey, yes. Okay, so what are some other misconceptions about polyamory, or just living in the lifestyle? Like when you just from your casual conversations with talking to people, what do people think, or what do they throw at you?
So y'all just be having threesomes?
Y'all just always out here just having
always
sex.
Out here having sex and threesomes.
Every female we're seen with, we do a photo shoot with, family member, friend. Most people see it, and we end up hearing like, oh, they're probably fucking her, and they'd be like, nah, we not. And the female would be like, oh, nah, they not. Like, like that. That's. I guess is that a misconception? Oh, the misconception that we're fucking everybody that we're with.
Okay, that's a misconception of just the poly world. And are there any more like anything? Because I find like how some people think that like sex is like a deep ritual, spiritual thing, right? And being that you guys are polyamorous, so you indulge in different partners, of course. Do you believe that though, that you have a connection with every person that you have sex with? And if so, does that make you more cautious with your sex partners?
I wouldn't say that that's not true. Okay. I've seen it. I've read it on social media where I've seen like for every man a woman lets enter, or everyone you take this much from this. So we believe in the energy, but we also believe in not restricting just us two, because in the same time where some can take from, there are some that can add to in a way more positive way. You're going to manifest that within yourself. So for the most part, the women that we are dealing with, we're taking something from them, and we're kind of feeding each other's souls back and forth.
So it's kind of like almost like perspective, right? Because if you dwell on like this, I'm about to fuck an ain't shit nigga, I'm about to get all this bad energy, or living in the moment, and what was it about him that attracted you in the first place?
A pessimistic mindset.
Yeah, so focus on that entity, you know what I mean? Okay, so with living in this culture, especially in the Black community, where hypersexuality and misogyny is pushed, through our movies, through music, television, does that influence your decision in being in this lifestyle? Like, do you feel like you in this lifestyle, for clout? You know what I mean? Or is it something that you just like guys genuinely feel?
Well, it's something that we genuinely feel because we've been living this lifestyle for years before we decided to be public about anything that we got going on. We just decided that we now were open enough to not give a fuck about what nobody say and just give it to y'all. But
where did that inspiration come from, though? Like, what gave you the power to just be like, because that's powerful, right, in itself. It's very, very liberating. Was it like an epiphany? Did you just happen? Did you feel yourself gradually? Did it take a certain experiences? Just like, yo, I'm tired of what people saying. I just want to be free.
It was a moment that we didn't do. It wasn't on purpose. We went out that night. We drove to AC. We went to a swingers club that night, and we were like sexting this unicorn at the time. And so we drove home, and we sending videos back and forth with the female, and then we started having sex. And then so we drunk as hell, so we recording. I got the phone. It's like, and then we sending it. Now this back then, and this is what got me off of Snapchat. We were on Snapchat. I had the phone, so I'm recording for us. This was where it was like, record on Snapchat, save it, then send it, because we had the filters and all this. We're just doing it, video. She's sending them. So I'm thinking that she's sending videos, she's getting the ones that I'm recording. I'm not sending them to her. I'm sending them directly to the story.
Oh my God. So this is how it happened.
This probably was the picture. Well, look, this is the picture. So we wake up in the morning.
Oh my God.
After all of that.
And her phone is going crazy.
What?
And it's like, yo, what y'all doing? And as soon as I heard her say, it was like instantly, it was like, yo, no, I did not. And I ran straight to the phone, and it was all there on the story, but only like 55 people had saw it.
Okay.
So I guess it's only for us.
What do you mean only? That's a whole audience.
Compared to the amount that could have saw it, it was like, so then we deleted it, and then we talked about it. So then that morning, we had made a bomb-ass breakfast, and we was talking. I was like, yo, how are we gonna bounce back from this? Like, yo, it was like, it was a weird space, but then we made
I can understand that,
we took a picture, and we posted it, but it was like, you really don't realize, nobody don't really give a fuck about what y'all doing. That's what really kind of, that moment, it was like, a couple people saw it, but after happening, but it was like, after you get past the shock and awe, nobody really gives a fuck about
everybody's, like y'all wasn't having sex with animals, you know what I mean? You was doing nothing that's unnatural, you know what I mean?
It was a good video, and I'm so happy about that.
That was the best part.
She's like, I look good, my ass is
Lord knows.
Oh my God. Okay, so it happened authentically, and that's the beauty about how these things manifest too, because it's not planned. You didn't do it for clout, as we stated. It wasn't to feed your egos. It's just something that literally happened to you guys, and it led down this journey of now we're inspiring and just educating other people that may be interested in the lifestyle, but they are afraid to. So with that, with selecting a partner, is there some type of debriefing process? Now I know you referred to yourself earlier as a sapiosexual male, right? So you like intellectual conversation, you like to pick brain and all of that good stuff. So did that like spill over into picking a sex partner or just, a companion for you two? How did that work?
That's for our girlfriend that we actually have, like where it's one, she's the one that we've chosen, she would have to have that aspect. That's very important.
Okay.
Within casual convo or females that we're just dealing with on and off, it's a plus when they do, because I get to see how it is, and she gets to see how it is for me to interact with a female on that level. But it's important with the girlfriend. But as far as with just dating or
it's just free game.
You are who you are, and you can always learn.
Yeah,
that's the whole point. You learn one another and then learn together. So we're not opposed to it. Like it really is not a. You can't be with us. It's not a joke. It's not.
But the girl that you guys are serious with about really fulfilling a legacy. So she has all the things that we mentioned early in the conversation. You know, that can't be jealous, open-minded, know thyself, right? Know what it is that you bring to the table, all that good stuff. Okay.
And one, because I know you said you wanted to hit on this point, for the men and the men that are with overly masculine energy, or men that are alphas or whatever, it really just comes down to, for us, we talked about that before we get, for us, what works is me being a good man from day one, making sure that she's secure, making sure that she doesn't have, that's what I can control. I can control, well, maybe, you know, sometimes you gotta fight through stuff from past relationships, and vice versa. She probably had to fight through some stuff from females out that way, but I just, not even thinking about Poly, because I wanted her so bad. It was like, I ain't about to hook this up. I'm not gonna mess that up. And that was the foundation. And then she got comfortable, and then she wanted to explore. And within the exploring, I still stay solid. There's no going. So it's like, dudes gotta understand, it's not about sex.
Yes.
You have to also be open. There's so many conversations I can have with my woman. I'm very confident knowing a lot of men aren't having with theirs.
Yes.
Yes, we've been to swingers club, we've done other things, and one question a lot of people always ask, what about a man? Listen, I'm open enough for the convo at least.
Yes.
Some men aren't even open enough for the convo, and when you're not open enough for the convo, at least, are you really being fair in what you're doing? If you're saying poly, so you have to sit back, and that might blow some dude's spot up, but you gotta ask him, if you're not trying to do it on an equal playing field, I'm only pleasuring you.
Yes.
I believe in it being equal, so I'm open to the convo, and I mean, you never know what could happen. We're gonna continue to evolve. Other people might not agree, especially black men within our community, they wouldn't even be able to understand my level of, I wouldn't even want to say nothing like that. They just want to understand where I'm coming from when I say certain things.
But that's because you know, it's something about, and we're going to actually get into that in the next segment. I want to touch on that, about the divine masculine energy and what that truly embodies. You know what I mean? Like all of this hypersexuality, macho man stuff, it's ego. It's led by ego. So we're definitely going to get into that. So make sure you guys stay tuned. We're about to get into the X Factor. Welcome back. We're about to get into the final topic of the show, the X Factor. So, Beezy, I have a question specifically for you. Can you elaborate on how it feels to be a sexually liberated woman, and what did it take for you to get here?
Well, it means freedom of choice to explore my body and understand what everything does, how it functions. To not give a fuck about opinions. That's one thing. Like, people are going to eat you alive. People are going to talk about you. People are going to call you names. People are going to rip you to shreds.
Whether you're doing good or bad.
Right. And just embracing everything that could be negative into positive. Also, having a great partner, Doug, just being there as my alter ego. Sometimes when I'm doubting myself, you're like, girl, bye, you this, you that, you look good, you this. And sometimes that reassurance was needed. So I had to give you a pat on the back for that, because you really have been pouring into me since day one. There was also a traumatic experience that happened to me in which I was stripped of my hair. I had a situation happen where I was blow drying my hair out one day. I had greased it up, blow drying it out. I had candles sitting on my dresser, and I bent over to like comb my hair out, and the tips of my hair went into the candle. And so now who are you? You don't have no hair anymore. You know,
it's kind of like you had to embody who you are. You are not your hair. You were not your hair.
Right. And I had to dig deep within. And so that traumatic experience, having a great partner, also believing in myself, affirmations daily, just being free, a lot of masturbating, a lot of it is important. Because you cannot.
Let's talk about that, the masturbation, right? Because it's deeper than just getting an orgasm, right? What when you're in that moment, what is it that you're doing, right? Like, what is happening? What are you
You're
thinking?
feeling, you're exploring your body, you're taking yourself to new heights that you never thought you could. It's always important to understand what you like and what you desire in order to allow your partner to explore you and know what you want. A lot of women don't know what they want. They just think it's wham bam thank you ma'am and that's sex. You were conditioned to think that that's a man just fucking you. He's just fucking you. Now with a man and our sex is sensational. Something that most men can't even get out of themselves, but it took a journey. And so I could talk about this forever. But it just puts the biggest smile on my face to know that I could just wear whatever the fuck I want. And my man sitting there like, babe, you should put that on. Maybe you should. I don't think you should wear a bra today.
That's so.
And it's just like, you damn right. You damn right. I don't like bras anymore or panties. I probably only wear them today because we're on the show. But it's just, he's comfortable. I'm comfortable. And if we make you uncomfortable, you don't matter. We're together and our understanding is there. And so I just walk in the room and that's it. And it's just liberating. And it's like, all right, you're uncomfortable, you're mad, you're this, you're that. But I can show you the way.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not withholding any information or anything. Just heal.
And then that was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So then I have a question for you, Doug. Can you elaborate on the divine masculine energy in your personal journey and this lifestyle?
Well, I didn't have the right masculine energy as a young adult, teenager, young adult. So I was like the toxic masculine, you know, in my earlier relationships with one. Never been jealous, but it's like it always was, you know, a thing. And I guess I thought that controlling a woman was, but I wasn't a jealous guy, so it was more so just saying something or saying the wrong thing where it was like I would have to establish my authority. But then I grew out of it when I realized like you don't want to be seen as that's no different than somebody kidnapping people type shit. Like that's other than they're just going with you willfully. But I wouldn't want to be with a woman and she feels like she's in a cage when she's with me. She feels like she's scared when she's with me. Like that wouldn't be her being her true self. And when I realized that I had to look more into me and what issues I might have had before I could just try to like, no, you can't be like that to nobody. You don't want nobody to tell you what the hell to say. You don't like to be micromanaged. How could you even think that you could be like that with somebody else? And so then just knowing that I wanted to be free, and then it's like I want my woman to be free. And in order for me to feel like I can, if we're 50-50, she gotta be free, and I want her to feel free. The more freer she is, like with everything, they say happy wife, happy life, happy. Also, it's like I will say for the literal, I'm very literal. If you say happy wife, happy life, then are you really willing to do anything to make her happy? I think I could look mine in the eyes and say that, right? And you would believe that. I would do anything, and I think a lot of people that come around our presence and our energy understand I would do anything to make sure she's happy, or that a fantasy gets taken care of, or that a fear gets attacked, or vice versa for me. And I'm very imaginative, so it's like, you ain't got enough fantasies, I got you. My bag over there.
I'm very imaginative. Lord have mercy, I can only imagine. That's dope. That's dope. So that really helps you tap into your true masculine energy. That masculine energy has nothing to do with control or possession. It has all to do with letting a person be authentic.
And it has to do a lot with the feminine also. But a lot of that are things that we are just now learning together. So I would never jump on to a platform and act like I'm just super holy or whatever. You know, we're learning about that. We're learning about stones. We're learning about everything. We're learning more about our ancestors. We're at the turn where we're evolving a little ahead of what a couple, like society now for the Black community, we might have started our evolution into our next thing that we want to do. Other people aren't there yet.
Yeah.
So, you know, for people to feel a little bit more comfortable seeing, like, you know, yes, we might look, we go home, we take this shit off, it's Monday Night Football, it's power, it's spaghetti on Monday to last till Wednesday. And we regular people like y'all, we just have the open mind to just basically say, we're going to stay in our bubble, do what makes us happy. I do whatever I need to make her happy, myself happy, my daughter happy. Outside of that, because that is the actual family. Everything else you bring in as an extension, that's what I believe. But it's not just off of blood, it's like, it's us first.
Yes.
And then
absolutely.
after that, everything else will fall in order. So.
Awesome. So if you can tell the audience who may be curious about this lifestyle, you can give them one piece of advice. Beezy, what would you give the women?
I would say what you mean and mean what the fuck you say. Period.
No comma, no semicolon, period. Right. And what about you? What would be some advice to the men that want to dabble into this lifestyle?
There's more advice to go around if you need to find us. But for this, what I would say to any man, if you're going to venture into the lifestyle or if you're going to venture into being poly or anything outside of monogamy, be very open, be very real, and also be very comfortable taking a back seat. This is the woman's game. It's the woman's driving the car. If you're thinking about a threesome, any of that, just know as a man, you need to be able to sit back, let that monogamous thirst be there. Understand that it'll happen if it's supposed to happen, but your energy doesn't drive the car in the poly threesome thing. These women, their energy, what they do. So I don't, you know, she texts the women, they get into their thing. She lets me know when it's time for me to be involved.
Right.
Yes, when I'm involved, the proper energy needed is there for them, but I understand that they drive the car for this thing that I'm riding along with, that I'm going to damn sure enjoy and not mess up. So that's what I would say for guys. Let the women do their thing, and then you come in and do your thing.
Do your thing. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today, Doug and Beezy. This is an amazing conversation. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It has been another episode of Alchemy of Thought. I am your host, Tisha Monet, and I will see you next time.
Bye.
Da, 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 da.